Terry, you are considered to be one of the, I'm going to say, ultimate speakers and MCs in this supposedly new stuff called Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, about which very few of us know much about. But we had the pleasure of you joining us here in Dallas for the McCuistion TV program. It's about 9 months now. And I imagine that since then, a lot has changed in this market. And I guess that's why you're even busier doing conferences and emceeing and talking and consulting about this. But I think there's one question that a lot of us still have in the back of our minds, and that is, isn't this kind of funny money that's being used for kind of sort of shady transactions? Why do we need to know about this?
Well, I think that's a very good question, Nikki, because a lot of people look at Bitcoin particularly and other cryptocurrencies and think, well, that's only for the drug dealers or those that are doing something that really is kind of illegal or something. And I'd say, no, actually not. It's being used for a lot of legitimate, very useful, helpful features. And I would even submit the bad guys, the people that are doing things that are maybe, for instance, illegal right now, they are using cash more than anything. They use that. And if you do something in Bitcoin, used to think, okay, well, that's going to be anonymous. No, it's only pseudonymous. It's kind of like we don't know exactly who it is, but it can be traced. And that's what they have done with many items right now, where they can follow the trail of the numbers, which is on blockchain and is never erased. So actually, it's being used in a lot of very legitimate means. We're seeing many companies of repute that are using it. Many banks are embracing blockchain and using crypto coins like Bitcoin and others. And we're seeing a lot of potential about it.
So this is really quite a dramatic change, because I can remember, and again, let's go back in time, even though it was only a short 9 months ago, the financial services folks were really up in arms, from the Fed to the SEC to just bankers in general, not wanting this kind of currency to become the everyday man and woman's way of doing business. Can you briefly address that?
Yeah, I think you're right. You're hitting the nail right on the head. They're concerned about it because it's taking away what they have. We don't need a bank. When you and I could do transactions just by me taking my smartphone, you taking yours, we hold them up, have a QR code on the screen, and it's immediately changed. No one can say your credit card has been denied. It's just done. And we can do it around the world for very low or no cost, depending on the coin that you're using. And it can be done very quickly. And so, yes, there is concern, because what many are saying is that Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies will do to banks and central banks what email has done to the post office. And they're fighting it tooth and nail. Like we saw journalism, many newspapers losing out to the internet because it's faster. TV stations losing out to YouTube and other video. This is part of what's happening. And now we're seeing it with money. And there are some challenges. There's some things we need to be aware of. It is very, very volatile. And we can talk about that in a moment. But there is a lot of change. And so it's something we need to be aware of. And now more than ever, even when we did the program last year, we need to be aware of what's going on and get educated.
So what two things would you say have changed in the last 9 months that we need to know about?
I think there's an increased regulation of it now. The SEC and others are saying, no, you can't do these, what's called ICO, an initial coin offering. In many cases, they want to monitor it because people have been hurt and they want to do what they think is the right thing to do by watching over people, making sure it's there. A certain amount of regulation, I think, is needed. And the regulation that we ideally use in Bitcoin is mathematics. The mathematics, which is then distributed to people using it around the world. No one person can control all of it. Instead, it's a group of people that are making agreements and they can see what's happening. It is a much more secure environment than something that happened after we did our recording also. You heard about Equifax and how Equifax exposed information that's important. Nikki, you know, when we think about your favorite first pet, or the first car you drove, or your mother's maiden name, those kind of details, now we know that because that was with Equifax and that was exposed because it's in one place. Think about it this way. If bad guys want to attack something that's got $10 million in it and it's in one place, do you think they would spend $1 million to get that 10 million?
Better believe
Probably, yeah. 2 million, Yeah, up to a certain point, they would spend a lot of money. However, what if instead of it all being in one place, we put that 10 million in 10 million different places? $1 in 10 million different places is what blockchain is doing. Oh, and by the way, the formula changes every 15 minutes.
Mhm.
So now it makes it so that it's much more secure than what we have seen in the past, putting it into what programmers call a honeypot, one place where all the goodies are, and all they got to do is get into that one place like bad guys successfully did with Equifax.
Interesting. So we can sleep a little bit easier if we're working with this kind of currency.
With
Terry,
blockchain.
some more letters not familiar with. So I have to ask you, I believe you said ICO. Is that anywhere near what an IPO is?
It's very similar, like the initial public offering that we see with stock means, okay, it's the first time they're sending it out. People have a chance to bid on it and to see where it's going to go. The ICO, or the initial coin offering, is the first time they would release a coin. And you think, this, I'll say a hypothetical coin called the Terry coin, or maybe the Niki coin. You know, we could put it out there, and there are many, many of them out there. And I'm just going to give you my personal opinion that I believe 90 to 95% of them are not going to make it. However, it's those few percent that will. And I don't know what the exact number is. They serve a specific use case. They can do something specifically to help people in a given area of their life. There are many others that I work for and speak about and look at, but it's really up to the free market to decide, is it going to be Bitcoin? Maybe that's the strongest one even today as we speak. Bitcoin Cash, which had just come out when you and I did the recording, when we did that with Dennis McCuistion, and we did that back last year at the end of August, and it was on August 1st that Bitcoin Cash came out, and it's doing very well.
One last thought, please, because it's still a mystery to many of us, myself included. Even though you'll be proud of me, I have a wallet.
That's good. That electronic wallet on your smartphone. That's what we call it, the wallet. And that's where you keep your money. And by the way, make sure you keep track of that. Because if you lose the keys that they give you, those sometimes a 12 or 24 string of words, you could be in trouble.
So even more complicated than passcodes and passwords and that.
There you go.
So what can the average person, what can our viewer do to learn how to maneuver this new Star Wars game?
I like a Star Wars guy. I think that's a good way to put it. First of all, relax and understand this is going to be okay. Think about the very first time you got a smartphone, very first time, or the first time you went on the internet or tried to do email. Anything new is often scary at first. So what you want to do is you want to get help with it. You want to study. And remember, this is why God invented high school kids. You can get them to help you out. They will be there. Get a good one, someone that's there. And remember, I am not by any stretch of the imagination offering financial advice. Do not sell the family farm and get this stuff. But I do strongly recommend that you study what's going on. A good place that I think is good to start is Bitcoin.com. Now, in all full disclosure, they're a client of mine, and I am now the host, since we did the program, I am the host of Bitcoin.com TV.
Congratulations.
So I get a chance to work with that and see what's going on. But I would recommend, for those of you that are watching this, what you'll want to do is study this. Go out and study this. Go and do a search at Google University, the University of Google, google.com, and type in Bitcoin. Type in blockchain, cryptocurrencies. Start becoming familiar with this. And if it's right for you, you might think about getting a wallet like Niki has done. Get a wallet on your smartphone and do this with the tutelage and help of someone who's knowledgeable of it. And I would use only a small amount. Think about how much you'd spend if you went with friends to a nice dinner out on the town. $50, maybe $100, something like that, depending on the town where you are. And you would be able to get something nice. And if you figure, okay, I'll try that. If I lose that, okay, not a big deal. But again, do not risk money. Only use money that you would be willing to throw away. But I strongly recommend get into this now. It is not going away. It's only getting better all the time.
Terry, thank you for those words of advice. And hopefully everyone will continue watching so that you see the McCuistion program that we aired and we taped in August and aired subsequently. I think it was Labor Day or somewhere around there. Thanks, Terry.
Thank you very much, Niki. Great to see you.